What's up, everyone? Salute, salute. Welcome into the streets. Buzzing. Hope you're doing well. NBA draft in 2 weeks' time. Ready to talk about more prospects in our series, fam. Tonight, it's all going to be about fan favorites. Part 3. How they help New York Knicks series. We're going to talk about 8 new prospects tonight. Some of them are rising up the board, but they are fan favorites, man. A lot of people have been hitting us up and sent us through some of the names that they want us to talk about, right? Part 1, Part 2, we talked about 16 other prospects, some safer picks, some guys that are more risk-reward with higher upside, but 8 more prospects to talk about tonight. Look forward to chopping it up with you all. Salute to the live chat. Salute Replay Squad as well. We'll put timestamps like we do so that you can lock in and follow through all the prospects that we'll talk about tonight. Second part of the show, we'll do some Q&A, just chop up the latest news with the Knicks off-season, some drama on the front of Isaiah Hartenstein, what people lead you to believe, but I don't think that's going to be true. I think Isaiah's going to be back as a New York Knick, but we'll talk about that in the second part of the show. But it's all about the NBA draft, man. Salute to the chat. What's up, fam? I hope you're doing well. Darren and Daniel in the building. How we doing, guys? We've got the draft night caps that have been revealed as well. How you seeing those? Let me know. JJ, what's up? Hope you're doing well. But tonight, we're going to talk about 8 prospects that are either rising up the board. They're going to help the New York Knicks one way or the other, but they're a fan favorite, right? A lot of people have been hitting us up, and they are Baylor Scheierman as well, Zach Edey, Bub Carrington, Yves Missi, Pacome Dadiet, Jaylen Bridges, Kyle Filipowski, and Tyler Smith, too. And if you want us to talk about more prospects as well, we're going to run it back with another fan favorite as well, so let me know. Love the interaction in the comment section as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into it, guys. Salute the chat popping right now. 14 days away, like I said, and I'm excited, right? The Knicks will add a player regardless of, the talk of the trades, etc. They will definitely add someone in the second round, I feel, and I do feel like we'll probably take one first-round selection as well, right? Now, with the first guy we're going to talk about tonight is, and this is in no particular order, by the way, but fan favorites tonight, Baylor Scheierman, right? A senior out of Creighton, 6'7", small forward wing, experience, man, 23 years of age. Some highlights on the screen right now. I'll bring that up on the bigger screen as we get ready to chop up the first prospect of the night. Too, fam. The streets are buzzing. Please smash that like button. And the range to start off, I could see Baylor Scheierman going anywhere from 20, but more than likely you'll be around the 25 range, I feel, right there, right where the Knicks are picking at 24 and 25 as well. One of the most ready-made prospects in this draft to come in and contribute on any team right now. NBA comp that I'm feeling right now, and I don't do this lightly, as you know, because this guy is a fellow Australian, but Joe Ingles, shades of him come to mind when I do look at Baylor Scheierman, right? He's a playmaking wing, but with excellent three-point shooting, as you see in the caption, in the stats you'll see popping, and the caller as well, shout out to him, our guy. He sees some similarities with Gordon Hayward as well. Now, the strengths with Baylor is all about the shooting right now, but the passing is a huge part of his game, right? Huge feel for the game, handling the ball. Bojan Bogdanovic does come to mind in terms of the Knicks, needing scoring, but also needing a guy that can create, and be an excellent passer off the bench as well. And I mentioned his age, 23. That is obviously a weakness. He'll be 24 in September as well. Right before the season begins, he'll be 24 years of age. But that means he comes in, he's very much ready-made. Fam, a senior out of Creighton. He's an okay athlete, right? He's not a poor athlete, but he's not a great athlete as well. He's just an okay athlete as well. He can sky high and finish above the rim, but that's not a big part of his game. But the playmaking is exceptional. It really is. And look, I'm really seeing a lot more mocks looking at a Baylor Scheierman in terms of the New York Knicks fit, right? Tibbs loves him. Oh, Tibbs would love him because of his rebounding numbers as well, right? 9 rebounds per game, right? That's a good number as well. 4 assists per game as well. Basically 3.9 coming in. So you've got a playmaking wing that's lights out shooting, 38% too, on very good attempt numbers as well. 8 attempts per game. Now, a little nugget that we can mention as well, which has been revealed, but Baylor Scheierman was a part of a New York Knicks workout recently, which also involved Ryan Dunn as well. So I'm fascinated to see how that would have gone, man. I really wish I was a fly on the wall to see that one. But no surprise that the Knicks got this guy in the building early to work out, because I think Tibbs would love a Baylor Scheierman in terms of a guy that can come in, be ready to score off the bench, right? Assume that Bogdanovich role from day dot. To what's up, Darren? Glad to hear you well. Let's go, Knicks family. Dirty Dancers in the building with Buzzer Beater. The legends in the chat right now. How you guys feeling? Any words on Baylor Scheierman, let me know. We shout you guys out, of course, in the replay squad as well. In the comments, let me know. Right. I must admit, I only really started to pay more attention to Baylor in the last week or so. His range is obviously, it's quite wide. You know, he could go earlier than 20, I feel, but it's more than likely he'll be around the 22, 25, 28 range as well. If the Knicks really love this guy, this could be a guy that I could see a potential trade up candidate. Because remember, as I said, if the Knicks take one guy in the first round, it's probably going to be more of a safer pick. The second round might be a little bit more of that, you know, higher upside, you know, let's take a gamble on that. But if the Knicks do want to add a draft pick on guaranteed salary, you know, given our financial, you know, situation that's going to be brewing with the first apron, I think they'll definitely want a guy who's more of a safer guy. You know, he's going to come in and he's going to, you know, add a lot to this current team, which is, you know, all intents are going to be a deep playoff team right now as well. And look, 6'7", he brings the size. Defensively, he's definitely not a bad defender as well. That's just not a big part of his game, but he can hold his own. Really did well at the combine and opened a lot of eyes, fam, at the combine. Let's look at his combine performance. Day one, right? He was one of the standouts. Best believe that. 17 points, 8 rebounds, and a plus 20 in the plus minus, fam. Also competed against Justin Edwards, KJ Simpson. Shot the ball well from deep. Impacted winning on defense as well with 3 steals, according to this X account as well. Look, yeah, the more I'm looking at him, I'm seeing a fit with the New York Knicks, and I wouldn't be mad if Baylor finds himself on the New York Knicks. Dirty says you have to like some of the long strides he takes as well, and also is very well coached, makes quick decisions, moves the ball well. Yeah, the ball's not going to stick. Yeah, what are you thinking for a comp? Duncan Robinson type, much better playmaking, I feel. And yeah, look, his quick decision making is definitely a huge highlight for me. The bench unit, you know, we definitely want to get up and down. We want to move the ball really quickly, change of pace. You know, we know with Brunson, Randall, the starting unit is going to be more of that half-court team. But definitely I'm really liking the size, the playmaking. And look, there is some defensive potential. I was going to say this earlier. He did have a very notable defensive performance on top 10 projected pick Dalton Connect as well. I think that was a game back in February. Really opened eyes that he, you know, can hold his own against, you know, a primary scorer, a talent, a guy with size in Dalton. So, look, yeah, Baylor Scheierman, I think I won't be surprised if a team in contention in terms of a playoff team can take him, 18, 19, 20, but we'll see. For me, the biggest takeaway too from the workout situation from the Knicks is that, yeah, he was a part of an early workout with Ryan Dunn as well. And if I just bring his numbers up again, guys, I mean, 9 rebounds per game from a 6'7" wing. That's excellent. That's not good. It's not great. That's excellent, right? Bojan Bogdanovic is not getting you 9 rebounds unless he's playing 30 minutes. So that's really good. Tibbs is going to love that. Also, Baylor brings intangibles, like winning intangibles as well, with the 4 assists. When I mentioned Joe Ingles as well, the shooting and the playmaking comes to mind, but also the moxie, right? Baylor Scheierman comes with that, he's dubbed Showtime, Baylor Showtime Scheierman, and he loves the spotlight, and he definitely gets fired up, man, when he makes big plays as well. But you love the passing, the shooting, all of that, fam, and he's not really a liability defensively, so he has to be firmly in consideration for a New York Knicks first-round draft pick, fam. JJ says, let's just get snipers too. This guy is one of them also, but he can do so many other things as well. So, yeah, I'm really intrigued to see, if the New York Knicks do take that chance on a Baylor Scheierman, due to his age situation. But I think that is right up the Knicks' alley when it comes to experienced guys that can come in and be ready to produce, right? If the Knicks do flip bogey, it's obviously going to be for a ready-made player. Oubre, Bruce Brown, I think would be solid fits with this team. We're waiting for June 28, right after the draft, to see what shakes out with the bogeyman's contract option as well, non-guaranteed. Basically 18 mil, just 2 mil is guaranteed. As we continue to talk about the next prospect, I think, Baylor Scheierman would fit really well in that bench unit, right alongside Josh Hart. Gets the ball moving, but rebounds, shoots the hell out of it as well, and is a great competitor. With that said, let's talk about the next guy, fam, tonight. Another fan favorite, obviously for different reasons, Zach Edey, right? Potential lottery pick. However, I think his range is around the 15 to 25, right? Back end of the lottery, might sneak into the Knicks' grasp right there, fam. 7'5" senior out of Purdue, 22 years of age, man. We haven't really seen many prospects like this in our lifetime anyway. Obviously, we're going to go through the comps right now, but the range, I think it's intriguing to see that the Knicks could potentially look at this guy for a trade-up option. The center position with Isaiah, Mitch, it's a little uncertain. I won't say it's really a priority. For me, wing is number 1 priority for CT, but in terms of a big man, you can't ignore the size, the size and the game that comes with the Zach Edey as well. I'm going to bring up his highlights right now. We continue to chop it up with the best chat in the biz. 7'5". I mean, there ain't a whole lot to go into in terms of Zach Edey's game, right? He stands out. Obviously, he is a giant, man. A 9'7" standing reach, right? They don't teach size, as they say, right? But he comes with a good paint scoring touch, right? Adept at the hook shot, push shot around the bucket. My comp is a Jonas Valanciunas, potentially a rich man's Al Jefferson, right? More of a paint scorer. He hasn't developed a three-point shot yet, right? He only took half an attempt, but he did shoot 50% on half an attempt as well. That's not a big enough sample size to sort of say to me that, it's going to be anything worth, translating right yet. Obviously, later down the line, he's got to get into the league first. But the strengths, obviously, the huge reach, the size, his ability to just bully anyone in the paint, right? He's the closest to an unstoppable force in college basketball that we've seen for decades. How that translates to the NBA regular season, I think it's going to be no issue. I think he's going to be pretty dominant, double-double kind of guy. Playoff basketball, I have my concerns, and that's where I'll talk about that in a minute. But the caller, our guy, also says a poor man's Yao Ming. That's his comparison as well, and I can see that as well. Yao Ming was fairly rigid when he first came in. Obviously, he didn't really master the J. He was more of just that presence around the bucket as well. Was a little uncoordinated early, but Zach Edey certainly comes with good coordination from what I see. Now, great pairing with a pick-and-roll guard, right? Jonathan Gavoni gives his thoughts as well. He sets huge wide screens with his size, 300 pounds, basically close to unstoppable, right, without fouling as well. But the concerns do come in a little with, in terms of speed, right? He runs the floor pretty well for a guy that size and how big he is. But, in terms of potential playoff issues that may arise, being played off the floor, we see Rudy Gobert have some challenges, fam. Small ball lineups. We know what coaches are going to try to do to counter what is a huge dinosaur in Zach Edey as well. But one of my favorite sayings is they don't teach size once again. And look, he is worth a swing for me. In terms of a guy you can just dump the ball to, and he's either going to get fouled or finish. Right, that's basically the closest to a cheat code that you can get. And I certainly wouldn't compare him to a Rudy Gobert in terms of offensive skill set anyway. Because Rudy, if you foul, you're worried that he's going to miss the free throws as well, or, bobble the basketball. Zach Edey's hands are very good. Finishes around the basket really strong as well. Post-up game like Al Jefferson. A rich man's Al Jefferson, obviously with, 6 more inches basically on him. Or a poor man's Yao Ming. If he has the highest ceiling possible, maybe a Jonas Valanciunas, but with the extra size. I think that's the way I'm kind of looking at it. It's kind of so unique, Dirty. Like, we haven't seen a guy come in that big with kind of good coordination offensively. I think he'll be better than Roy Hibbert, but there's a shot that he just, I guess, falls victim to the modern game, which is, 3-and-D, speed, getting up and down as well, man. One thing's for sure, I love to see him, whenever he gets drafted, I love to see him against like Indiana. I mean, we saw Indiana firsthand, fam, and, they'll run him off the floor. I think that's their best chance, man. Miles Turner has no chance of, guarding a Zach Edey, fam, in terms of the size, the ability to bully down low as well. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see where he ends up, man. But the more I'm hearing, there is a chance that, he's there on the board around 22, 23. The Knicks might need to trade up at the very last minute if they are interested. But look, we have 2 first-round picks, and that's one of the reasons we're in a great position, because the Knicks should exercise all their options. They should cover maybe a wing, a big man, and then maybe a guard in the second round. I'd like us to to tick all the boxes we can. Now, if they feel really good about Isaiah's situation, maybe they're looking at some other bigs as well. We're going to talk about one of them tonight, or 2 of them later, in Missi and in terms of Filipowski as well. But, I think the center position isn't a priority for the New York Knicks, but when a guy like this comes, within your grasp, I think you're definitely going to consider it, man. I think he is late lottery, potentially mid to late first round, right, if he does slip. But I can't see him slipping to 24. However, I could still see him being on the board at maybe 20 for the Knicks to, to trade up and get, right? I think at the very worst, he's going to be a double-double. Al Jefferson averaged double-double for like 7 years. Was never an all-star. So I think that could be the kind of ceiling where he's never an all-star, but he's just that force in the paint. But again, the concerns, man, over the playoffs. What's going to happen in the playoffs? They're going to try everything to counteract the size as well. But, I mean, the guy is so big, you literally just throw it up there, man. And, he's not going to have no chance of grabbing it without being fouled as well. So, really high floor. I'm not that big on his ceiling. I don't think he'll be a Shaquille O'Neal, like some people have said he has the potential to be. I don't think he has the potential to be Hakeem or anything along that line. Of course, those guys are Hall of Famers, but I could certainly see him somewhere in the middle from, Yao Ming, to a Al, a much taller version. But yeah, man, really, really intriguing. 22, so he's experienced. Obviously a big body, 300 pounds, good post up, a solid post up, obviously with his strength. He's not like your rail thin 7'5", a bowl kind of guy. He's got the physicality already there, fam. So yeah, coach, we've seen the Raptors work him out as well. So yeah, it's going to be a situation where I think he'll be gone by around 2021. But look, the Knicks can certainly get him. I think if they're aggressive, if they do want to trade up, we'll see, man. Maybe the Knicks want Bruce Brown. They do a couple of picks, and they try to get one pick for Zach Edey with the Raptors. That could be something talked about as well. I mean, how are you guys feeling about Isaiah? I know we're going to talk about that a little later, but I'm not that worried about Isaiah Hartenstein. I mean, I know it's out there now that teams might be looking at 25 mil. The Knicks, most they can offer is around 17, 18 per. To me, that's not big enough of a difference, to lose Isaiah to a different team. I think he has unfinished business, and I think he really wants to be a New York Knick. So, with that said, though, Zach Edey would be an excellent backup center. Ease him in, 23 minutes a night. See how he goes. He does average 2 blocks per game. Obviously, he's far more of a defensive threat than an Al Jefferson as well, who was, a traffic cone on defense. But I think anyone who's 7'5" should average 2 blocks. And if you're 7'5" and you can't average 2 blocks in the NBA, then I would consider you a bad defender in terms of that. So he literally just needs to stand there and block some shots. Yeah, I'm feeling good about Isaiah returning. Mitch is under contract as well. It's all paper talk at this stage. But Jericho Sims, that is a situation where, he's a good cheap contract. Maybe they'll try to continue to develop Jericho. And maybe we take a flyer on one of these other bigs later in the second round as well. But for the second fan favorite tonight, man, Zach Edey is definitely worth a huge look, right? Because he's a very, very rare prospect that we probably won't see for another 10 years, fam, as well, and can carry a team as well. So let's do it. Let's go to the next prospect too, guys. But before we do that, what are you guys feeling about Zach? He's a good compliment with the Raptors. I agree. But we'll see. The next guy we talk about is going to be a point guard out of Pitt, Carlton Bub Carrington, 6'4", 6'5". He's measured in. One of the guys with the highest upside in this draft. Two fam, and 18 years of age coming in, right? He'd be more of a longer term prospect for the New York Knicks. Good size playmaking for his size. 6'5", can rebound well. NBA comp I'm looking at is a Reggie Jackson for him, potentially a D'Lo, a guy who can pass it, and a guy who has shot creation as well, running the point as well. The youngest prospect in the draft is Bub Carrington, right, as I pull up his highlights right now. He's intriguing for many reasons because he would add that playmaking that the New York Knicks could value next to Deuce McBride. Because of his size, you wouldn't be hampered with defense and size in the backcourt. He rebounds well for his size as well. Obviously, there's the creation, the playmaking ability. He can pull up, and he likes to ping the passes all over the court, like a D'Lo. Younger Reggie Jackson as well. I could see him capping out at those guys. Now, he is going to be available around that 20, 25, 30, 35 range. Whole lot of upside, right? He came on the scene this season, raised a lot of eyebrows, and his ability to develop into a primary point guard on a team with good size is going to have a lot of teams looking at him, in the late first round. I love the creation ability, but obviously he's still young. He needs reps, right, as a backup, right? It wouldn't have been a bad decision for him to return, I feel, and stay in college, but I could understand why he's come out. He had a really solid season. I think team fit is going to be huge with Bub because, he's going to need minutes to continue his development. He's going to be, needing those point guard reps as well. He thrives on the ball with his playmaking and his speed as well. And I think, for the New York Knicks, if he's in the second round, if he's potentially there at 38, cool. I think that would be an excellent value pick, right? Considering the age. But we'll see what happens with Rokas too. But shades of Reggie Jackson, D'Lo, good size for a point guard out there as well is Bub. Dirty says Bub is so fun. He learns to get to the rim. If he learns to get to the rim, he'll be lights out. Reminds me of Kobe White. That's a great comp. I'm feeling that. I love Kobe White's game. I think I was trying to find a few more comps rather than just go with the Reggie Jackson D'Lo, but that's a good one. Loves to get downhill, but the age, 18 years of age. I think in 2 years' time he could be as good as Garland, in my opinion as well. If you can get that guy in the late first round, early second round, I mean, it's a risk because obviously you are hoping for the development to continue. Obviously freshman, there's question marks, but he's on a great upward trajectory as well for what we've seen too. So this is where the workouts, this is where intel from his coaches at Pitt, all of that background work is really going to be a big factor in taking a guy that young as well. But obviously some teams aren't even in the playoff mix, so it's probably an easier decision for them than a New York Knicks situation as well. But he would be an excellent talent to get into the building. Look, we need more playmaking, right? I know we need size. I know we need defense, we need size, but we also need the playmaking too, right? Concerns over the future of Alec Burks. You're right. Hart is our backup too. Basically, I was pleased with Hart's playmaking abilities, so I'm not too concerned about that. But obviously, with the point guard situations, one injury to one guy, we are potentially thin, you know. We've got Deuce, which is a solid backup to Brunson. But yeah, but adding another playmaker and ball handler would be nice as well. But yeah, I do like Baylor Scheierman as well. We'll see what happens at the wing spot if we do not bring Bogdanovic back as well. Bruce Brown could be another facilitator off our bench as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Bub Carrington, right? I could see the Knicks taking him in the second round. I would be surprised if they do use a first round pick on him. Not because of he's not deserving of that, but I think more of a fit. You know, I think the Knicks will be looking for more ready-made players in that mold. So, AP's in the building, joining us, Simon. What's up? So Zach Edey is worth a move to get up. That size is a good thing. Yeah, I agree. I think where the Knicks are at, if they're 24, 25, Edey's still on the board at 21, I think yeah, you've got to try to get aggressive with that. But I don't see the big man as our biggest need, but we can get wings later in the draft too. I mean, for all the talk, guys, this is an excellent wing draft. This is exactly what we need. So we're in a pretty good spot, you know, picking 24, 25 and having 38 as well, right? If we don't end this draft with at least one or two wings, it'll be a complete failure, obviously. But potentially free agency, the Knicks might have more, you know, backup plans. With that said, with Oubre, Bruce Brown, Malcolm Brogdon's name's been thrown out there as well. We're going to be doing some free agency shows as well. But and I said this before, man. I really hope the draft was after free agency, because you know right now you got all these teams, you know, trying to project, you know, and predict what's going to happen, and that's tough as well. But that's why, you know, the Knicks have multiple picks, which is great too. Darren says, I'd like to see Rokas on our Summer League squad. Yeah, me too, man. There is a chance, you know. Some news out of Steph Bondy in the New York Post did confirm that Rokas is, you know, going to go through the Olympic qualification with his country. If they were not able to qualify, then he's going to come over to America, I think, and try to make the Summer League. Now, if he does make the Olympics, that'll eliminate him from Summer League. But as I also said prior to that, the door is still open for him to come to training camp as well. And you know, if the Knicks are interested, but he might be a part of a trade. We'll see. But yeah, agree with Zach Edey, worth a trade up. He's one of those guys that you heavily look at it. Dirty says Bub is the one guy I see drafted in the back half of the first that could become an all-star too. Yeah, upside, you know, it's a really value pick there, man. 25, 28, it really is. I think that's where the scouts have really got to trust in what they're doing too, fam. Now, episode 1, we talked about some safer picks, Ryan Dunn as well, who also worked out for the Knicks with Baylor Scheierman, who we talked about tonight. Now, the next guy we talk about is a big, right? Another player with intriguing upside, ladies and gentlemen, and he is a freshman out of Baylor at 20 years of age. He is a 7-foot big man, Yves Missi, right? Now, his range is kind of like right after the lottery or, you know, late first round, maybe early second round as well. The caller has given us a comp, and he sees shades of Mitchell Robinson in Yves Missi as well. I see a guy that is a taller Siakam as well in terms of the physical tools, right? A little bit more raw on the ball. However, I mean, athleticism, jumps out of the gym, really agile and can move, right? Let's look at some comparisons that Jonathan Gavoni has shades of Serge Ibaka, right, in terms of wingspan, height, age. At that, that's an interesting comp. With an elite vertical leap for a center as well. You know, you guys remember how springy Mitchell Robinson was first year out of the summer league, all of that, man. He was blocking Kevin Durant, basically, shooting threes, only a few years back. And then summer league, he was blocking everybody. Excellent physical profile with his tools, right? Out of Baylor, he was, definitely eye-opening. 20 years of age, so he's not that young, but, definitely young enough with more upside. Now, quick breakdown, league him. Those guys, in terms of his face-up game, he's more of a beeline to the bucket, as you see. He's very agile as well, a rim runner threat, and a threat to block shots as well. So if the Knicks are worried about Isaiah or a Mitchell Robinson health concern, Yves Missi is a guy who could be there, late first round for us, early second round as well. And I'm intrigued, to see how he would fit on this squad. Young, upside in terms of the athlete that he is really tantalizing. The size, the wingspan is elite as well. Great physical abilities. See, he's coordinated, right? Can put the ball on the floor, right? Basic creation stuff, right? Facing up. But yeah, he's very, very raw still at this stage, right? To come in and expect that he's going to play major minutes early is definitely off. I think he's going to take another year or so. He'll be spending time in the G League. But yeah, he's one for the future, no doubt, right, for me. What's good? Knicks ran out of steam. Luigi, what's up? We'll talk a bit more about Jalen Tyson later today as well. Dirty says Missy has only played the game for 4 years as well. Giant lump of clay. Yep. In terms of being molded, that's why I sort of looked at what Siakam was, when when the Raptors first started to develop him, but obviously he's a bigger man. Missy projects as a center as well. Siakam's a power forward. So that is the difference. But yeah, our guy, the cooler, has talked about Mitch. Yeah, I could see that in terms of the athleticism and the defensive potential as well. I don't think he's going to be a real offensive-minded guy in the league. But, I mean, man, if he's an elite help defender as well, paint presence, rim runner, all of that, right? I think this is definitely a good pick for a second round for me. If the Knicks took 2 first-round picks and one of them was a wing, I wouldn't be mad using the other one on Missy. But my preference would be, to only take him in the second round if he's there too. But look, obviously the big man department is a little concerning potentially for the Knicks. And if Zach Edey is already gone, I could see Missy, definitely coming in for a workout at least for the New York Knicks. I mean, the defensive potential is through the roof with him. And in terms of his ability to develop a better handle, a jump shot, things like that, it's still there. He's 20 as well. So, yeah, pretty high on him. And yeah, he's a fan favorite we talked about tonight. And a lot of people bring up his name. He's getting more buzz. And he's definitely a guy that could be taken in the early 20s, even as high as that, right? If he kills these workouts. We'll see. One guy who I don't think will be there, though, is Jalen Tyson. And look, he was invited to the green room. Now we had the green room invites revealed last night, and he's one of them, fam. And I think he will definitely go either late lottery or just after the lottery. I agree with AP on that one, but I think Missy at 38, like Knicks ran out of steam says, definitely take him at 38 if he's there. And hopefully the Knicks can buy another second round pick, which I think is very likely I think the Knicks will probably trade one of the first round picks, make one of the selections in the first, and then try to find another second round pick as well. Because as we talk about more guys tonight and in future episodes, this draft is stacked with wings, stacked with talent, potential upside, and parity as well. So what one team thinks a guy is worthy of 20, another team might let him slip down to 40 as well. So the Knicks are in a really good position, and I really do hope we end up with two good prospects, right? I'm pretty sure they're going to be either a guy with, a really high floor who can help right away, or a guy with, really good development abilities and upside as well. We do have Westchester out there. The Knicks will want to make sure that there's some, I think some marquee talent and guys looking at the Westchester situation as well. The back end of this roster, I've given my thoughts. I wasn't happy, and I don't think after the Knicks reviewing the season, it sounds like they weren't overly happy either, because Ian Begley just put out there the other day that the latest draft meeting discussions in the front office has all been about the Knicks trying to strengthen the depth as well. Jeffries, Diakite, Milton wasn't used. All the two-way guys didn't get many opportunities, this season. So we have to look at ways to improve that. And I think buying a couple of second-round picks would be nice. Hey guys, even the second round undrafted guys could be something that we get a steal as well. Now the next guy we talk about could be a potential steal, Pacome Dadiet as well. I'm going to get some highlights up of here of Pacome, right? 18 years of age, coming out of France, right? He's gathering huge buzz right now. We talked to James Barlow last episode of the NBA Big Board. And hey, he's a big fan of Pacome Dadiet, 6'8", right? His range is definitely late first, but very likely to be a second round guy. But his name is climbing right now because of the upside. Now, real size, 6'8", some early comparisons I can see is of the Morris twins in terms of really good face-up shooting ability, solid two-way potential, good wing size at 6'8", a pretty good athlete, and only 18 years of age as well. Right, played pro in France, and he's young, still developing his game on both sides, but he's a solid defender already, and I think he has more upside to show with defense and offense. But early going, his foul rate was pretty high, as you can expect, for a young man playing pro as well. Our friends at No Ceilings also put this out there as well. Intriguing combo of size, the craftiness, the flashing of two-way versatility is what makes him a really intriguing prospect, right, to take. What I love is, obviously 6'8", a guy who can potentially be a real dominant two-way player as well. He's just so young. So is he an immediate fit for the New York Knicks right now? I would say no. But is he a player worth, taking if he's still there in the second round? Yeah, definitely. He's a potential, first round talent, fam, in this draft. Knicks love value, even if they are swapping a first to trade back a little, and they, it's like they did with Rokas as well. But yeah, the physical profile is very intriguing. We take more looks at the highlights there. A good dump down, good okay creation right now and facilitation. He's not going to be a primary facilitator or creator right now from what I see, but two-way potential, right? Plays above the rim, still growing, 18 years of age as well. And I like those guys that have played pro experience at that age. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys come in with that pro experience, with LaMelo Ball, Giddey, Luka Doncic. A lot of those guys popped early in the NBA after good pro experience as well. So, I mean, 18 with pro experience, good upside, and a good size as well. He is one to look out for, fam, as well. Yeah, and I know what a lot of people are thinking right now, as AP says in the chat, the Knicks are scared of some French guys now. I got some thoughts on that. I think the past is definitely, there was a lot of concerns over just everything in terms of those guys, acclimatizing to being in the States and being overseas, and the physicality some of them struggled with. Some of them was just, individually, Killian Hayes, and Frank Ntilikina was overrated when he was picked at 8 and was, brought into a tough situation as well. But where things are at right now is French basketball has, even in the last 10 years, has changed a lot. Even from the older school players, and I put Evan Fournier in there because he's been in the league for 13 years or something. But these new age French guys, they don't know none of that. They're in the new gen. I don't know what gen we're up to now. I don't know if it's Gen X, Gen Y, but these guys come in with a kind of a different mindset, different moxie. So yeah, I think it won't be long before that French tag is kind of gone. Obviously Alex Sarr is potentially the number one guy in this draft as well. I've met him and spoke to him, and he doesn't back down. He loves that confrontation, competition as well. So yeah, I think the French, the being scared of the French tag, I think that's gonna get shaken off eventually. Relating to the New York Knicks, I think it'll just take us to get one good French guy, and then I think it'd be different kind of player as well. Evan Fournier was a shooting guard, not known for his defense anyway. Frank Ntilikina was known for his defense, but his offense was significantly lacking in that department as well. But I love my two-way players, and I'm looking at Pacome Dadiet as a guy who does project to be a good two-way player as well. Maybe the Morris twin label is a little underwhelming, but look, they've had very good careers as well. They're both still in the NBA after so many seasons, right? I like to keep my NBA comps not like for like, but I like to keep it as kind of between the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. Some people like to throw a real lofty comparison, and some people like to do a real super safe, underwhelming one as well. But if you can have an NBA career and be in the league for 10 years, then you've had a great career, in my opinion, as well. Even if you are bouncing around, because if you go in the late first round or early second round, nothing's promised, right? Most people don't stay in the league beyond 4 or 5 years as well. There's just so much talent coming in. So that's where that's at, fam. And look, a good wing to play off the bench and develop as well. Wing size is big, as we mentioned, the bogey situation, Alec Burks, the third string lineups as well. If Pacome is there in the second round, I think the Knicks should look at it, or maybe try to buy another second round pick as well. And like I said, if we get out of this draft with 2 wings, with both with some two-way potential, both with good size, 6'7" and above, I'll be a pretty happy man as well. But obviously we've got to see what's on the board. And guys, I think draft night's going to be chaos. I think it really is going to be, people's boards are going to get smashed open to pieces. Right. There's talk Ron Holland might slip out of the lottery right now as well. And I know it's just talk, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of value with that, situation. Is the chat's given their buzz about Frank Ntilikina. Let's move along to the next guy as well. And if you're just coming in, welcome in. Appreciate you for joining us. We're rocking out on the streets of buzzing. Episode 3 of How They Help series for the New York Knicks. These are all fan favorites tonight, right? For one way or the other. Some people have hit us up. Viewer's choice kind of thing, of fan picks. If there's prospects you want us to talk about more, let us know in the comment section as well. More guests and more draft shows coming. Fam, 14 days away until the New York Knicks make their selection, right? And I'm excited, right? We've got the draft night caps as well from New Era drop. I think it's definitely not one of their worst. I think it's pretty safe. I like the font. It's pretty clean with the tan. All the teams have the tan colors on that one. And we move along to the next guy we're going to talk about in the fan favorites as well. He's very, very intriguing to me. Another wing as well. A two-way wing. Right. Let's get into it. The next prospect we talk about is a senior out of Baylor, Jaylen Bridges, ladies and gentlemen. I'll pull up the highlights right now. 6'8", 23 years old, right? A senior out of Baylor. Jaylen Bridges is definitely getting a lot more buzz as well. We had some guys in our comment section as well. Some loyal viewers hit us up and opened our eyes about Jalen Bridges, so appreciate you for reaching out. He is gettable, right? He is a guy that the Knicks really do need to look at. Late first, early second. He might still be there mid-second, but I doubt it. NBA comp, his game does remind me of another Bridges, a Mikal Bridges, right? Obviously, it's most likely best case scenario. However, Mikal Bridges, remember, he did come into the league pegged as just that 3-and-D guy, right? But he worked on his game and he developed his creation abilities as well. So Jalen Bridges is a two-way wing. He's older. Obviously, he's had a couple seasons with Baylor as well. But it's important to also note that he played well in the combine as well. And one of the most ready-made prospects in this entire draft to come in and play on a playoff team, right? His strengths are his shooting, 41% from 3, excellent wingspan, rebounds the ball well. Tibbs is going to like that. And his solid two-way play. Weaknesses, his creation level is basic right now. It's not poor, but it's not great. It's just a basic level, which is fine because, obviously we're going to have our point guards on the floor at that time. We're going to need some spot-up shooters on this squad, and we're going to need, guys that can mix it up, right? Two-way play. But yeah, Jalen Bridges with his wingspan and his size at 6'8", is definitely a guy that can come in and help, I think, this squad. Good corner shooter. Joe's in the building. 38, you like Dunn. I think the Knicks love Dunn as well. Bobby Clintman as well. Yep, we talked about Bobby in episode 1. If you haven't checked that out, check that out. But I will be talking about Bobby Clintman a lot more, man. I'm high on Bobby Clintman for various reasons. Dirty says, if I were picking in the late second round, I would take him, but not at 38. That's your thoughts on Jalen Bridges, right? Obviously, there are some risks going with the older prospect, but good combine. And I think, I don't know if he's going to go first round. If it is, it'll be late first round, but he certainly could be a potential steal. For early second round, in my opinion. Multiple accounts. This guy, NBA Scouting, echoes the thoughts that Bridges is one of the most NBA-ready wings in this class. Can come in and contribute, corner guy, shoot it. Good defender as well with the excellent wingspan, a la Mikal Bridges, too. And if you don't have huge expectations that, he's going to become a star and, he's going to be a 38-minute per night guy, getting a quality wing that could play two-way in the second round could be a steal, and we go back to this draft, it's wing heavy, and the Knicks need to come out of this draft with at least two wings, in my opinion, or at least one, hopefully two wings, right? Guys are 6'7" and above as well, and I know Josh Hart will probably be the happiest man alive if we can get a little bit extra size in that area. I mean, Josh Hart did everything, and he was that lion heart. He guarded fours with Siakam. He switched on to every single, opposing player at some point throughout the season, right? But he really is a shooting guard, Josh Hart. Shooting guard, small forward, undersized, but he rebounds so well that Tibbs just can't, help himself. But yeah, well, you guys let me know in the comment section as well. What do you think about the NBA comps, right? With Bridges, a situation where the Knicks could potentially buy another second round pick as well, and I think, it's all in the eye of the beholder as well, guys, and we all see prospects differently, and so do front offices. I think it's no one's going to have consensus on anybody. I think that's the thing. Even the front office likes to debate and talk about, who's going to thrive and who's going to fit with the squad better. And that's why there's first round guys, second round guys, all of that, undrafted guys, one of the guys I hope the Knicks can maybe get is Jose Alvarado, New York native, undrafted free agent, slipped through the cracks, one of the most beloved New York Knicks in history is John Starks, a player that went through different routes to get to becoming an all-star and sixth man of the year as well. So the draft is just one way into the league, but once you get into the league, it's all about what you do after that. It's a clean slate once you find yourself in the league, and it's all about opportunities as well as how you work, develop your game, and which team that you find yourself on as well. So, yeah, we know, like Bronx Roots says as well, I know you're a big Jalen Bridges guy. Tibbs looks for guys that can just do a job as well, and some fans want higher ceilings in their players as well, so that they hope they can, be a difference maker in more ways. But also you need players to star in their role, and I think Tibbs appreciates that. And we'll see. Actually, a good question Buzzer Beater had for us last ep as well. Shout out to Buzzer. Was who's really making the pick, right? Knicks Nation, you might be really wondering who has the final say, and I think Walt Perrin, together with Leon Rose, I think ultimately will make the call. They'll hear from everyone from the GM, Gerson Rosas, William Wesley. Obviously, he's connected. He's got his guys that he likes. We know the story about Quickly, smashing his hand on the table, get me Emmanuel Quickly. I wonder if he does that again with, Justin Edwards out of Kentucky, who I like as well. There's just so many wings, and I really do. I know that they're going to debate it. I know that they're going to go back and forth on different guys, but they will settle on the right pieces. Keeping in mind that free agency, re-signing our own free agents, all of that, they have an inside track as well. In typical passion Knicks fashion, fans will react and overreact on draft night because it'll be maybe trading up. They'll be trading backwards, sideways, acquiring future picks later in the draft. There'll be a lot of chaos. But just know one thing, that the Knicks in the front office, they're not leaking things out. They've got the inside track on what people are going to, do in terms of free agency and all of that. So, yeah, welcome in, guys, in the chat. Joe, we got Revolution. We talked Khalil Ware and Keyshawn George in episode 1 and 2. I like those guys. I think definitely Keyshawn George is a good risk-reward guy in terms of higher upside. Needs to finish at the rim better, but the three-point shooting and the size is great. And I think Khalil Ware is going to be an interesting one because, as I mentioned, with Intel, it's all going to be about what the Knicks can find out with him, and and also with Woody. Woody out in Indiana, and that situation. The Knicks will definitely be mindful of the current roster in terms of fits with, chemistry. It's all about chemistry with the Knicks right now. We've got things buzzing. Now, moving along to the next guy, we continue the buzz, fam. Smash that like button. The streets are buzzing. We're going to talk about Duke big man, Kyle Filipowski, right? A first-round prospect. It's safe to say that Kyle, I think, will be in the first round. I think he could be very late lottery, right after the lottery, or he could be as late as late 20s. For me, I could see an NBA comp as a Kelly Olynyk, Mo Wagner, or a poor man's Nikola Vucevic in the league. Now, Kyle's got skills, man, for a big man. Obviously was a standout at Duke. Scoring ability is there. Good feel for the game, right? Very versatile, passes well, can get you steals. The biggest question over him is his physicality, right? Right. Is he just going to be on the court playing, I guess, most of the one side of the ball? How does his game translate to the NBA? Well, the floor spacing is a big tick for him. I really want the Knicks to look at a Khalil Ware or a big who can stretch it. I know the Yves Missi and those other bigs, Jonathan Mogbo, and a lot of these physical bigs offer a lot of physicality and great tools in that aspect. But one thing we've been missing for a minute now, ever since Kristaps Porzingis left us, is some shooting, man. And to a lesser extent, Luke Cornett, even. We had Enes Kanter for a minute. He was a more of a dinosaur in terms of back to the basket, rebounding. We got, Jericho Sims. We got Mitch. We got Isaiah with the floater game, all of that. But we really need a big who can actually shoot, face up and shoot, man. And I hope that name isn't Karl Anthony Towns, really, because I've got question marks over the fit, the salary, and all of that. But we'll talk about that in the free agency eps. But yeah, man, the bigs who can stretch it. Kyle, I haven't really heard many links to the Knicks, but he is a fan favorite right now. Anytime you can get a guy that's dubbed potential lottery, later in the first round, if he slips, and every year there's guys that will slip, so you've got to do your homework, you've got to prepare for what's potentially to come, because when your name gets called, right, and you're on the clock, fam, you need to make these decisions quickly, right? And if you've done your homework already beforehand, then it makes things even better, fam, as well. The Knicks will have all their boards. They'll have plan A, B, C, and D, F, and G on that situation, right? And they'll have done their homework on a Kyle Filipowski now. As I said before, there's a chance that even a guy like a Ron Holland is potentially slipping now. And don't forget, it's not because guys are doing anything really bad. It's just for for every player that rises up a board, there has to be somebody that slips. And it's simply all about, workouts. It's about promises, fits for teams, all of that. And everyone's board's going to get smashed to pieces, man, I think, in this draft, man, which is why I'm really looking forward to this more than a lot of drafts in the past, because I think it's wide open for the Knicks, to get some steals, right? It's not like we were pigeonholed with the Obi draft where it was like, okay, it was Obi, it was Devin Vassell. It's kind of tough, and I feel for every team picking late lottery in this draft, even earlier, because it is weaker at the top, right? But if you have a couple first round picks, I think you can get some great value with that situation. Like Revolution says, yep. Can we get a center that can stretch it? I think Khalil Ware is going to be in play if the Knicks are, interested in using 2 first-round picks, or maybe taking Khalil Ware with one of them, and then getting a second-round pick as well, and swapping the other first for another team with a player. I've heard some talk about Royce O'Neal. Royce O'Neal was out there as well. We're going to do some free agency shows as well, but the draft is next up too. What's up, Wayne? Salute. How you feeling? The interesting thing is the Knicks haven't been in a draft where we've been this close to contention. That needs to be considered as well, because yes, we're talking about the fan favorites tonight, and I could see a world with all of these guys tonight, helping us somewhere down the line. But we can't ignore the elephant in the room, is that the New York Knicks were 1 game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. And with that said, we have a very specific need. We have very specific roster fits right now, and I don't want us to waste selections based on what I would consider a waste is, I guess, redundancy. I don't think the Knicks would ever do that. I think we will try to get some guys that are going to slot in because of the salary situations. We can't afford to just have, we can't afford to carry 4 or 5 guys that's dead weight, dead salary. We're not in that situation anymore, man. That was 5 years ago when Frank Ntilikina was here, and Emmanuel Mudiay, Trey Burke, and we were just trying to throw things up against the wall and see what sticks. But right now it's quite unique. We got some needs at the backup 4 spot. We've got the needs at the backup wing, and potentially a backup center as well. And look, anyone who can bring some playmaking. They don't need to be a point guard. There was the link to Tyler Kolek, who we talked about in the other episode. If Tyler Kolek is in the second round, I could see the Knicks being, having a look. But as long as it's some form of playmaking, because we do have 2 spots pretty safely filled, and those guys are Jalen Brunson, and those guys are Miles Deuce McBride as well. So that is big time for us, right? And I know Deuce is going to continue to develop as well. Now, what I was going to say before, though, about Jaylen Bridges is, and I'm going to shout out the person who mentioned this as well. Let me pop this up right now, shout them out. We've got the Cavs fan, but he's been dropping some nice updates on the draft. Alex, right? Cavs _ Alex as well. Now, Jalen Bridges, right? He's 23, but he's had 2 years at West Virginia. 1 year as a red shirt. He had 2 years at Baylor as well, who he's just come from. But the 2 years at West Virginia, right? Guess who was also there at the same time? Is our very own Deuce Miles McBride. So Jalen Bridges is a former teammate of Deuce, coming out of West Virginia for those 2 years as well. So there's that familiarity, and connection there, which I thought was pretty cool as well. When I was doing this research, I came up with. But obviously, yeah, his most recent years at Baylor has got him in this draft consideration now as well with JB, right? Imagine if we had another JB on the squad. That would be funny, right? So, yeah, before we hit up on the last guy, just to wrap up, the thoughts on Kyle Filipowski, a skilled big. If you've got question marks over sort of your physicality side of things, I could really see Tibbs not being the biggest fan. What do you guys think? I know the talent is there and a really high floor situation, but yeah, Kyle Filipowski, out of probably the fan favorites we talk about tonight, he's probably one of the least likely that I think Tibbs would go for as well. But I mean, you've got your bangers in Julius, you've got your Isaiahs. Sometimes you need a piece that just complements them. And I think, look, face-up shooting and ability to be a go-to guy. Kyle Filipowski can be a go-to guy. Just like your Vucevic's as well. Olenik's more of the lower side of things, lower ceiling as well. Edey says CT is getting greedy, wants everyone in the second round as well. Man, if I had my way, I'm going to rip this roster to shreds right now in the third string, and I'm going to draft like 4 second-round guys, man. Shake Milton, see you later. Daquan Jeffrey, see you later. Alec Burks, see you later. Diakite, see you later. Jericho Sims, yeah, we probably need to keep him because we need, we need some depth. Precious Achua, I've said see you later. All of the two-way spots, get all the undrafted guys that slip as well. Because this is the year, man, this is a year with the most parity, and we might not get this for a long time now, because once these better drafts start to come, there's going to be that clear, evaluation abilities now. This draft, it's like we really might get a steal. Bronx says if my Knicks take Dunn in the first, that would be a mistake. Dunn will be an Isaac Okoro situation as well. I think Dunn is firmly on the Knicks' radar as well, but yeah, I can't gauge how high they are on him. Obviously, he's a hometown kid. There's going to be things that Tibbs loves, but, we've seen the Knicks ignore some of those things in the past as well, right? The Knicks were, one example is AJ Griffin, CAA, Westchester guy, AJ Griffin. The Knicks, were interested in him. He went. The Knicks didn't trade up. Look, Ryan Dunn in the second round, I think would be a good add. First round talent questionable because of the shooting. But yeah, he's definitely got to work on that side of his game as well. But as we talked about tonight and the other EPs, there's so many more two-way wings that I think should be considered maybe higher than Ryan Dunn. For that reason, one of the reasons the Knicks are good now is because we have two-way guys: Hart, DiVincenzo, Deuce McBride, right? Even Precious Achua gave us a little bit on both sides of the floor, right? Some nights he was giving us 10, 15 points as well. Isaiah Hartenstein's improved offensively too with his scoring output. Baylor Scheierman, the first guy we talked about tonight, he's been mocked to the Knicks a lot recently in various independent mocks as well. I could see Tibbs really, really looking at this guy more than a Ryan Dunn even, because, he does a little bit of everything, Obviously not as good defensively, but a guy who play makes, he can take the stress out of, DiVincenzo and Brunson having to make plays all the time, or on the bench unit, Deuce McBride or Josh Hart is going to have to make all the plays, right? Baylor can pass with the likes of a Joe Ingles, but he can shoot it at 38%, rebounds at 9 rebounds a game, and he turns 24 in September as well. Tibbs will like that. One of the more ready-made players in this league, right? So he's the first guy we talked about. Before we hit up on the last guy, we'll do the summary. Zach Edey, right? Again, man, huge floor, just extremely high floor. Projects to be a double machine in the league. I mean, 7'5". Even if he is the poorest man's Yao Ming, you take him with a first-round draft pick all day. If you can develop a jump shot, it's scary hours with that. But again, concerns over half-court play. Concerns over non-half-court play. Playing against fast teams. He's probably not going to be a 38-minute per night guy because of the wear and tear and the up and down nature of the league now. And he's got to develop hopefully a 3-ball, I think, to take that next step, right? But look, if Zach Edey's there at 24, I mean, even at 20 or 21, you might have to explore some options. Third guy we talked about tonight is Carlton Bub Carrington, 6'5" freshman. Think, young Reggie Jackson coming in, D'Angelo Russell, right? Real high upside. Those guys D'Lo was basically a high lottery pick. Reggie Jackson, 6th man of the year, obviously dominated with OKC early before he got his free agent move. Think a player with good size to rebound at the guard spot, but high upside playmaking abilities, speed, face-up, spot-up shooting, as well as his creation will continue to develop. He's only 18, the youngest player in this draft. The fourth guy is Yves Missi, right? Freshman out of Baylor. Think of a mold of a Mitchell Robinson. The cooler gives us. Strength is a rim runner, face-up guy that basically is just a menace getting to the cup, but creation ability is still very raw. Needs to work on his offense, but is just a huge deterrent and a menace defensively. He can get spot minutes, I think, early, but he's going to be more of a developmental player. But late first round, his potential climbing up the board with the not that many bigs in this class. We've got Pacome Dadiet, right, a French prospect, 6'8" size, big upside for him in terms of playing pro already, two-way potential, right? We're seeing guys come out of Europe with some pro experience. Some of them look better than others. Obviously, Luka is the creme de la creme. But if Pacome Dadiet can have a career like the Morris twins, he's a real 6'8". The frame needs filling out, but he's a good athlete. Offers good wing size. Creation ability is still growing. Foul rate is a little high at the moment as well. I think he'll tuck along on some team's bench, and he'll start to win minutes as well. But as an 18-year-old, he is one to look out for in the second round as a big sleeper. And then obviously Jaylen Bridges, we chopped up a lot, brings that experience, two-way play, solid three-point shooting, above solid, can bring floor spacing and experience, a basic creation level at the moment, but so did Mikal Bridges coming in. Kyle Filipowski, as we mentioned, a big who can come in and be a go-to guy, roll back to the basket, can make plays, versatile with passing ability, solid steal rate as well, but just not an overly physical big, just not not your bruising kind of big, but he's more of a finesse guy, right? But a very, very good one with that one. And then the last guy we talk about tonight's ep, in the first ep of fan favorites, is Tyler Smith, man, the forward out of the G League Ignite with 19 years of age. Right, let's pull up his highlights right now. Tyler Smith, fam, offers that size, athleticism with a 7'1" wingspan, coming in at 6'10". He was efficient from three in the G League and is only 19, right? Think of the mold of a Kyle Kuzma, Jabari Smith, right? Early days, Kyle Kuzma was quite limited, but had a pretty high floor. Remember, Kyle Kuzma was a pretty good standout in his first 2 seasons with LA before they traded him, but he was more experienced, I think, coming out of Utah. Jabari Smith, block shots at the rim, uses his wingspan and verticality to deter, right? He would be a perfect backup 4 situation for the New York Knicks, man. Think about basically replacing Precious Achiuwa if you are looking at a Tyler Smith. Right? He's got the age upside still. Extremely great athlete. And plays above the rim too. And he's going to provide that defense that Tibbs is going to like in terms of rim protecting as well. But look, needs to continue to develop, obviously with the age. Was a standout with the G League. His range is going to be anywhere from right after the lottery to potentially back end of the first. But I think he is a first round pick. I think he will get taken in the first round, especially if the shot can show to be elite. Any thoughts on Tyler Smith, fam? Right, in terms of the current roster. Now, there's talk that the Knicks will offer a qualifying offer to Precious Achiuwa. That's just been the rumors out there, right? We don't know what's going to happen. One thing's for sure, if we address the wing spot, that'll be great. It'll be awesome if it's a combo forward that can guard 3s and 4s. But to back up Julius, bring in a different kind of bruising power forward that rebounds, can protect the rim a bit. That I think that is going to take a lot of pressure off of Mitch or whoever the backup center is as well. Ideally someone with a jump shot as well. And as I said, no Josh Hart playing the 4 anymore. So let's see. Dirty says Smith playing a little soft for Tibbs. I think Tibbs, obviously at the age, is going to count against Smith a little. But maybe they do hold on to Precious for another year and then they let Smith develop more. Bronx says if we can luck up to getting Jalen Tyson, drop to either of the picks, that would be the ambitious pick to get. The perfect drop would be De Silva, who we'll talk about in another ep as well. Based on what we're hearing, man, a week ago I would agree, but I don't think Tyson is going to be available now. I think, as you said though, luck up, definitely it would be a stroke of luck, but maybe the Knicks still, try to get aggressive still. You see, for this reason, is that the Knicks obviously have their 2 firsts, right? But we all kind of know that they only want to take really 1. That's kind of the unspoken, prevailing thing right now, is that the Knicks don't want 2 first-round salaries. It's not that they don't want 2 first-round talents, but the salaries are the issue right now. And so it's likely that the Knicks will either trade up, use the 2 picks to try to get a better position and get their guy, or trade one of them for a couple of seconds, or one of them for a future pick, or one of them for a vet. Yeah, and select the other one as well. So yeah, that's why I'm hyped, for this draft. And there's, you know, there's so many options that the Knicks can do. Um, hopefully we are, like Dirty says, well, I'm keen on some of these wings. Hopefully we do get two guys out of the second round. Hopefully we get Rokas up in here as well to bolster some playmaking. Hopefully we get two wings out of the second round, and then hopefully we just get the best guy, whoever's there in the first round too. But in the next couple of episodes, I am going to drop my first big board as well. It's going to be all the prospects, the way I see it. I'm going to rank them all as well. And in the final week, we'll be doing some mocks. The more we hear, too, fam, as well. But the first guy we talked about tonight, Baylor Scheierman, he's a guy that I'm really looking at with one of the Knicks' first-round picks, because not a whole lot of upside per se, but the floor is so high already that I think he could come into this squad and give us really good depth off the bench right away with the playmaking and the great shooting abilities. And yeah, Tibbs is going to love the skill set coming out of Creighton, right? So he can finish in traffic there with the slam. Got a solid handle. The 3-point shot is money. Not a huge defensive wing, but a guy who can hold his own, I feel. He's strong enough. Not the best athlete, but just an okay athlete. But a two-way guy in terms of a pretty solid offensive game, as you see, with the passing and the scoring, the shooting. And he's going to go in the first round, I think, is Baylor Scheierman. Deron Holmes, in terms of a guy like him from Dayton, he would fit in terms of the backup spots on the Knicks. Questions over Mitch, Precious, and obviously the future of Julius Randle is still going to be playing out with the contract situation. I could see the Knicks doing a lot of intel on Deron Holmes as well. He's worthy of a first round pick. Another guy who's in that situation as well. Drop me in the comment section or the chat right now. Who are your picks? Or if you're still figuring things out, then let us know later in the next ep as well. But obviously the combine went. The Knicks use the combine a lot, and I'll use some previous examples, fam, when relating to the New York Knicks. The first one is Quentin Grimes, right? It was the NBA Combine that basically sealed the deal for the Knicks to draft Quentin Grimes. Thibodeau was kind of lukewarm. Quentin Grimes had a standout combine, and that was it, right? Tibbs loved the two-way ability, the scoring, a little bit of facilitating and creation, and I think that's what tipped the Knicks to get Quentin Grimes as well. So yeah, some of these standouts from the combine. There's been quite a few. I like Justin Edwards. I think he would be a very good second round take for the New York Knicks, or late first round even. The Kentucky ties are there. I think Justin Edwards in a few years could be like, he should have been lottery. I think there's a real world where Keyshawn George, but he needs a little bit more time. I don't know if the Knicks will be exercising much patience. It's kind of like we're in a better position than we were yesterday, right? So I could see the Knicks being a little. Knicks being a little bit more harsher in their evaluations, and just be like, right, does he do something great? If not, then the next guy. He either has to be great facilitating and scoring, or great at defending, or great at both things, or great at protecting the rim and rebounding. It's basically, I think the Knicks are not going to take too many chances. I think they're going to go more safe. Yeah, Bronx says, I'm looking forward to the draft more than I have in the past because the obvious needs we have at the wing spot, yeah, and the wing draft. I agree with you. I feel the same. Uh, I just don't know what the Knicks are really going to do because of the trade scenarios, you know, the veterans, the contracts of Bogey as well. But hey, man, if we get Rokas, we get some facilitating and some wing help. I think that'll be excellent. Dirty says, perfect world, I'd go Zach Edey, Pacome Dadiet, and Baylor Scheierman. That would hit. That would hit, man. Assuming, yeah, Edey in the first round, maybe Scheierman with one of the later first rounds, early second round, and Dadiet. Yep. And you know, Walt Perrin and Brock Aller are going to be ready to put on a masterclass, right, to take more advantage of the situation. Not so much advantage of a team, but advantage of the situation where, like, let's say, for example, let me pull up the order now, as we'll tick into overtime, man, and do some Q&A. Now talk about some free agency guys. Yeah, I've got to address the Hartenstein situation as well. But here we go. Pull up the order now. I also put in the comment section as well. There's an ESPN draft simulator as well. So I'm gonna do that now. And what the hell? We might just simulate one now as well. I'm gonna load that up. So yeah, but we look at the order in terms of taking advantage of the situation. There's teams like Utah, teams like Phoenix that need more talent, right? They just need more bodies, and the Knicks have these picks that they can dangle. So you see, you got Utah, right? Utah's at 29, right? But their pick before that isn't all the way until 10. So they've got a pretty big gap between 10 and 28, right? So that's where the New York Knicks fit in perfectly, right? The Knicks can maybe flip one of these first round picks, go down a little bit to 29, right? Lesser salary, you know, on the margins kind of move, like a Brock Aller kind of situation. Less of a guarantee. However, you're not really losing a first round pick, if you know what I mean, right? Because all of these guys are basically, it's all up to the individual how you see them, right? But it is not a huge disadvantage, is what I'm saying, right? Even early second round, man. Bobby Clintman I would take in the first round. Ryan Dunn is a first round kind of talent. Dadiet, Mogbo, Scheierman's still going to be there potentially. AJ, both AJs. So yeah, it really is, man. It's quite deep. But if you could take advantage of the situation with Utah, try to get one of their second rounders, move back just a little. These ads keep flipping the thing. Apologies, but yeah. So Utah at 32, right? I mean, pipe dream, but we get 32, and we get 29, and we give Utah 24, man. And you know, maybe we need to throw them Rokas. Maybe we need to throw them another second round pick. Maybe we even give them 38. We give them 24 and 38. We keep 25, or we keep 24 and we give them 25. We take 28 off them and get another one with a cheaper salary. And we get a better second round pick out of it. We get 32. And we give them our 38. So there's a lot of things that can play out. Phoenix obviously need more talent as well. They're struggling. Indiana got a lot of roster spots right now, fam. A lot of good young talent. Are they going to take 49 and 50? That's going to be interesting to see what happens, what plays out. What's up, J Dub? Salute. Salute, salute. AP says they pretty much use Grimes to bring back Burks. Bogdanovic is there in the mix with that one too, fam. But yeah, it was all about the playoffs with that one. And you know, yeah, a lot of people wanted Grimes to stick. I get it. Grimes still, I think, could have a very solid NBA career, but maybe they saw something, you know, maybe they, you know, closer to the situation, maybe they saw something to say, hey, Quentin Grimes is what he is. Like, he's not going to pop. He's not going to, you know, get to that next level, which is a gamble, but it, you know, the Knicks haven't been proven wrong yet. You know, Quentin Grimes was injured with Detroit. He regressed, you know, coming into his third season. He was given the starting shooting guard position. Although despite him earning it, he was given that role, and he was outplayed by Devo. So yeah, I think he could definitely prove the Knicks wrong, and that was a bad trade. But I think right now, I think the trade was quite fair. I think the Knicks needed playoff depth. We'll wait to see what Quentin Grimes ends up doing. Right. One thing for me with Grimes, and there were certainly different factors in terms of fit, but it is concerning for a first round player to regress in their third season. Right. Ideally, you want to see improvement every year, like Deuce McBride. You know, that is why I'm also concerned about Jericho Sims. You know, it's been the same thing every season. No development with that one. AP also says, I'm trying to keep Rokas, not trying to give him away for another lousy second rounder. He has to want to come first, but yeah, I hope that we keep Rokas as well. I think he can bring some experience and some playmaking as well. J Dub says, I would trade 25 for Portland's 34 and 40. That could be a good one, man. Let's look at that. Where are we at with Portland? Here we are, 34 and 40. Trade 25. Hey, I'm not mad at that, man. That's a good one. That's a good one, man. I appreciate that. Because look at 24. There's still guys that I like. Even pick 40, there's going to be some guys as well. But there will be some undrafted players available too, that I feel. But yeah, Rokas, we'll wait and see, fam. I'm going to be watching these Olympic qualifiers as well, just to see if his game's developed a bit. And we'll go from there too. But next up, let's do this simulation. Let's get it going. Okay. That was the wrong tab. Let me get this one up. Right, here we go. We're on our first ESPN draft simulator too. Let's go with the consensus. And I'll see if I could add my 2 cents as we make our picks. We'll go normal speed. And we'll go 2 rounds as well. Any of you guys that want to do this maybe at a later time or now, I'll put the link in the chat. Right now, obviously we're going to be the New York Knicks. Let's go 24. Our highest pick. Our highest pick is 24. Let's go. And let's load the draft. Right, let's start. We're loading it up. Ricochet went number 1. Alex Sarr. Nikola Topic. Okay, here we go, fam. Highest ranked guy available, according to ESPN, is Keyshawn George. Kyle Filipowski slipped. There you have it. Like I said, Kyle Filipowski slipped to the New York Knicks at 24. Bub Carrington is also there as the 3rd highest ranked player. Bobby Clintman is there at 24. Baylor Scheierman, Tyler Smith, Justin Edwards, Tyler Kolek. 2. Ryan Dunn, still on the board, and so is Jalen Tyson, still on the board as well. Wow. Some intriguing options there, fam. Let me see if I can close that and then go back to it. I just want to see who went before the Knicks. Okay, so Kalel Ware got taken with the Pels. Zach Edey went at 20. Yeah, I could see that, man. Looks like Jarrett Allen. I don't see Edey slipping beyond the Raptors or the Cavs. The Raptors, obviously, the hometown factor, and Cleveland with the big situation as well. You know, Donovan Mitchell pick and roll with Zach Edey would be crazy. The Pelicans took Kalel Ware. Obviously, questions over Jonas Valanciunas free agency. Damn, Deron Holmes went to Phoenix. And then Mantas slipped to the Bucks. Okay, there we go. Let's bring it up again, fam. What are you feeling? J-Dub says, I would take Carrington. Dirty says, that thing is broken, having Mantas in round 1. Highest ranked guys available. Keyshawn George, I like him. I don't know if I'm going to take him with my first pick. Right. Kyle Filipowski, all the good things we talked about his game. I don't know, man. That's where the organization was going to come into it in terms of workouts, you know, more watching of a film, etc., etc. He's not my biggest need, right? He's probably the best talent available. Obviously, the highest ranked, or second highest ranked. J-Dub says Bub Carrington. I'd love that playmaking ability. I don't know if the Knicks will swing for that upside right away. I love Clintman as well. I'll be very happy taking Clintman. Honestly, 6'10", two-way wing, rebounds, great in transition, and Baylor Scheierman. Fam, maybe out of those two. But then we go further down. Jalen Tyson is still available. Ryan Dunn, Jalen Tyson. I'm going to go Jalen Tyson and then hope that one of those other guys are still there. What are you thinking? Any nods of approval? I know J-Dub wants Carrington. AP's high on Tyson. 2 J's, yeah. All right, let's take Tyson. We are drafting, ladies and gentlemen, with the first pick, with the Knicks' first pick, 24. The New York Knicks select Jalen Tyson out of California. So he's taken Jalen Tyson. Next pick. What do we do, man? I mean, the money's not mine, so I want to take another guy for the sake of it. We got our wing. We got our two-way wing. Carrington's there. Keyshawn George would be another great piece off the bench. Kyle Filipowski, man. We don't know what's up with Julius Randle. We don't know what's up with Precious Achiuwa. Right? Justin Edwards is there, but we also took Tyson. Pacome Dadiet, I think he's still going to be there in the second round. J-Dub says Tyler Smith or Scheierman at 25. Baylor Scheierman I like, man, but you've got Jalen Tyson now. 2 wings is great. Maybe we can get another decent wing in the second round. I want to try to go something a little different. So I'm going to go with the big man, Kyle, right? High floor, ready to come in and help us immediately. Right? and then we can address the playmaking in the second round. Or another big. Right, let's see who's still on the board at 38, right? So damn, Clintman went, Baylor Scheierman went, McCullough, Trenton Flowers. Oh, the caller will be happy. Shomchi went to Indiana. That's an amazing fit. And Terran Shannon, man, as well. So let's see who's still available. Justin Edwards, Ryan Dunn, still available, man. He could guard you some power forwards and be a small ball 5 as well. Assuming we can buy another second round pick. AJ Mitchell is still there as well. Man, Knicks are going to have a lot of decisions to make. Joe says, I go guard big man in the first round. So Carrington, Isaiah Collier, McCain, Khalil Ware, and Kyle. Yep. I'm same with you. I took Kyle as well as taken Jalen Tyson too. J-Dub's taken 38, Dadiet or Justin Edwards. I'm a big Edwards guy, man. I think, yeah, he would give a little bit more size over Tyson as well. But I'm also feeling some AJ Mitchell, and I'm feeling some Ryan Dunn as well. Maybe you can buy another second round pick and get Ryan Dunn. But I'm gonna go with Edwards. With that one, man. Justin Edwards. As the rest of the board plays out, Isaiah Crawford, my guy, went to the Clippers. Melvin Ajinça. So this is where it's at, man. Jalen Tyson, Filipowski, and Justin Edwards. That's solid. Now, if we're looking at the Blazers, they got Trenton Flowers with 34 as well. So we could have got him as well. And Nikola Durasic with their 40th pick. So yeah, we could have potentially done that move. Also, we could have done the move with the Utah Jazz potentially as well. And they got Baylor Scheierman with pick 32. That's a good one. So yeah, that's it. That's where it's at, fam. We'll be doing many more of these as well. And yeah, you guys keep it cool. Keep it cool in the chat. As I said before, we all see things differently. We see prospects, etc. But it's been a fun show, chopping this up. Ready for more content to come. More draft shows in the works as well. Man, this one was fan favorites. Part 3, and let us know if you want us to highlight other prospects in the next ep. But soon we'll be dropping our big board, and we'll be bringing you up to speed with the latest on more Knicks draft workouts, as the Knicks have worked out Scheierman and Ryan Dunn, right? Two of the more intriguing guys for me, as well as a host of other prospects as well. But they will keep it. They will keep it a little more hush. With that said, you know, in that situation, let's keep it buzzing. And remember, fam, New York Knicks or nowhere. Salute.